The small scale off-road world continues to grow, and now we have an Axial UTB18 Capra. Yeah, I didn't see this one coming, so in today's video, we're gonna take a look at what's inside the box, check out the features. I did one of my teardowns so you could see all of the guts. I'm gonna give you a size comparison with other Axial rigs, and of course, we'll take this trail rig out crawling. First up, we need to talk about how the UTB18 looks. This rig was released a few days ago, and I've seen a bunch of comments saying it looks like a toy. And after looking at it here in the workshop, I think I know what it is. It's these painted green beadlock rings on here. We've seen some toys in like the big box stores that have wheels like this, and I think that's what's throwing everybody off. But guys, this is a true Axial rig. It's got the good plastics. It's actually got really cool graphics once you look at it up close. I like the LED lights. We've got driver figures in there, even decaled up dashboard, fuel cell out back. The cage does look really cool. Now, like the 10 scale Capra, the roof panels, the side panels, they all are held on with screws. The hood actually flips up to access the battery, just like the Capra. It's actually got a little clip under here, so if you push up underneath it, it pops it up. That's how you access it. And the wheels themselves on here, if they weren't painted with this green, are actually pretty awesome. Then we have the Nitto Trail Grappler tires on all four corners, super soft. I was told there is a very light insert in there. But back to the LED lights, because there's actually a lot of them. A light bar, the front rock lights, and then headlights. One thing I wanted to note about the rear portion of the cage is it does look like it has clearance. So if you want to go and put a rear steer setup on here yourself, you could go and do that. And I know some people are going to jump down to the comments and say, why didn't they just do that? Well, this is built for anyone to get into. You guys got to think this is going to reach a broad number of people, and those true enthusiasts that want to build their own rig will go throw a rear steer setup on there. Now let's move on to the good stuff. And that starts with the drivetrain. This little rig has portal axles. There are metal gears in the portal housings, CV style drive shafts over to the ring and pinion gear, which are metal. It does have a plastic locker in the center, but we've also got ball bearings throughout the entire kit. The rear axle is similar. We just have metal shafts right out to the portals instead of CVs. And one thing I do need to point out is these axles are licensed by Curry. Now onto the transmission itself inside. I went and pulled that apart for you guys. All plastic gears in there with the exception of the pinion gear. However, it looks like it's pretty well built. Not a ton of grease in there, but we do have full ball bearings and an aluminum motor plate, which I really like. And then the smaller version of the Wildboard drive shafts, these do have metal CV joints. Now the suspension, this rig has oil-filled shocks. A lot of small rigs don't have oil-filled shocks. They are composite body shocks. They are at least threaded, so you could adjust the preload on the springs, and they're actually set all the way up from the factory. There's bump stops on the shock shafts. I think some people might get rid of those. The springs are very light. Check out that twist. Then down below, 4-link suspension front and rear. The lower links are metal rods and the upper links are plastic, but at least the lowers are metal, so those won't wear away or bend while you're out crawling. Onto the electronics. Stuffed in the front of this is a S651 Spectrum servo, metal geared servo, and standard size, so you don't have to worry about finding a micro servo to fit in this small scale machine. The motor in here is a 37 turn 380 size brush motor, and that gets power from a 2-in-1 Spectrum unit. It's set up with the SLT protocol, and it has a few pigtail wires to go and power the LED lights. It also comes with a Lipo battery pack, a 650 milliamp dynamite reaction pack. These are the same size as the Mini T and Mini Beef, so if you have any extra on hand, more runtime. And then of course the USB charger. Also in the kit is a SLT2 radio system, AA batteries, some basic tools, bind plug, manual, and then some extra wheel hexes that are just a little bit narrower than the ones that are on the rig. Here's a quick size comparison with some of the other Axial rigs I have in the workshop. The SCX24 Deadbolt, the UTB18 in the middle, and over here on the right hand side is the 110 scale Capra 4-wheel steer version. So far I like what I'm seeing on here. We've got lots of ground clearance, good suspension travel, metal gears in the driveline, and I like the graphics on here, which reminds me, it's available in 2 different liveries. Obviously we've got the Axial version, and there is a Fox livery version as well. I'll have links in the video description below, or you can pick these up at your local hobby shop. Time to hit the trail with the UTB18. All right, let's watch the suspension work here. See if we get this thing twisted up for you. There we go. A little rigid feeling. Got a good challenge right here for the Capra. A little bit of dirt, a little bit of rock. Going right up. See if I can hook that rear tire to spin it a little bit, up and over. There we go. Now get that next tire on the rock. Shift that front back over. There we go. It's doing it. Nice. Look at that. Awesome. Right up. All right, let's throw a wheel up and over these rocks here so you guys can check out that axle clearance. Look at that. Little catch, but we're good. I keep forgetting to tell you guys about the RC driver merch. You can find it in the bar below the video. I just got some new shirts in and they did a really good job with the printing on these. But onto the UTB18. The fun factor is totally there with this thing. Love the LED lights. It's quick enough so it keeps ahead of you while you're on pace walking. What I noticed with this rig is it does crawl well. It does feel a little bit stiff in the suspension. It does ride a bit high and the preload collars on the shocks are already up. So, you know, it does have a little bit of a tippy feeling. I mean, I was able to side hill this thing pretty well, but I would like the CG a little bit lower on it. And I think brass weights are really going to help it out. Just with some of the inclines, it would roll over backwards. And I just knew if it was a little bit of weight in this thing, it would handle the climbs. And what's really cool is Axial already has all that. They have some brass for the front. They've got links for this. So I think that's really going to help performance if you're really looking to push this thing. But back on the trail, the speed controller does pretty well. It's got some decent drag brake to it. Again, it's got some good power to it as well. Was able to bump up and over some of the rocks. I like how it steers. The problem is the tires fold over. The tires are a bit odd. I was hoping for a bit more out of these things. They seem to be a little too stiff in forward bite, going around corners. The sidewall collapses so you get push out of it. So I think, you know, if we see Proline coming out with some Hyrax tires, it's really going to step up the ability of this rig. I've got a bunch of packs through the rig because I have so many from my Mini T's and Mini B's. That was super helpful just to be able to carry that over to this rig. You get about 30 minutes of run time on it. If you're driving Spirited, if you're just doing some slow crawling stuff, you're gonna get maybe about 45 minutes. So out of this crazy growing world of small scale crawlers, I think the Capra UTB18 definitely fits in.